today's times, the dynamics of functionality at a personal or a professional level has ushered a huge need for robust life skills that can help every individual to cope better with the numerous pressures and challenges, as well as with competence to face the realities of life. In other words, when we talk of life skills, we are referring to the abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that can effectively combat the demands and challenges of everyday life so as to address a good balance of three things: knowledge, skills, and attitude. I'm sure you'd agree with me when I say that the skills of knowing and living with oneself, with others, as well as the ability to explore, rationalize, and establish effective behavioral iterations for oneself is imperative for evolution and productivity. Our vision is to create a powerful and enriching ecosystem of life skills for the nation that builds the psychosocial, the interpersonal, and the affective capability and capacity of individuals in multiple areas to develop coping mechanisms and combat challenges, as I said, and to help individuals evolve towards self-empowerment and success as professionals in business, industry, and commerce across sectors and levels. Therefore, we endeavor to operate and create well-defined policies, systems, and processes, as well as engage with the population in conjunction with the globally recognized concepts of life skills and their pertinence and applicability for Indian culture and progressive thought in the current scenario and dynamism. In order to achieve our vision, we have an 8-point mission, which I would like to throw light on. Mission point 1 is about creating awareness of the concept of life skills. Mission point 2 deals with research and development in the area. Mission point 3 is about skill interventions and knowledge dissemination. Mission point 4 is about the opportunities for enhancement of life skills across domains in this area. Mission point 5 is about a life skills community network of experts and practitioners in the area. Mission point 6 is about community engagement and connecting with the population as friends of hope and resolve. Mission point 7 is about life skills exchange programs in the nation as well as globally. And mission point 8 is about policy creation, which can be suggested to the Government of India for women empowerment and a better conditioned society.
We at Wiki Life Skill National Council are dedicated for a transformation of working women fraternity pan-India. Our National Council is a unique blend of a made-in-India team of elegant, expert and robust contributors implementing our mighty mission. Our various state councils represent our values and integrity across our noble country. We are committed, venerable and effective. We together as one team are reflected by one voice and oneness of a vision. Our National President, Dr. Kuljeet. We together will continue to contribute for the power, the potency, and the constructive capacity of the women through our legendary life skills.
We are an All India Women Task Force for Life Skills, and we endeavour to reach every single corner of the country as time goes by. We want to be able to make that positive difference to every working woman, regardless of which sector she belongs to. We want her to feel capacitated and empowered with her life skills. We are here to make a difference and do our little bit selflessly towards a Sashakt and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Jai Hind.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all on behalf of Wiki Life Skills National Council. Yet another meaningful engagement. We are launching our webinar meetings on a fresh stream. This first being, we have our chief guest, Dr. Kuljeet Opel. Most of us know about her. And for the rest of us, let me give an introduction about her. Dr. Kuljeet Opel, the world's first image scientist and genius polymath, has been honored with several awards for excellence in the world of innovation, education, and social impact, including prestigious World Innovation Award, Hall of Fame Honor 2019, Innovative Leadership Award for Excellence in Social Innovation and Global Impact 2019. World Education Award 2018 for Innovation, Siksha Bharati Award 2020, Nari Udyatmita Purushkar Award 2018 by MSME Ministry and WES, and also has been conferred with the esteemed honor of Karamveer Chakra Award by the United Nations and ICONGO, as well as National Icon 2020 and the Pride of Maharashtra 2017. As a Wiki National President, Life Skills, and the All India Chairperson for Image Management, as well as Board Advisor to the International Creative Women, she works towards bringing about policies, creating a robust ecosystem for empowerment of women globally. Dr. Kuljeet Opel has been awarded with the esteemed Inspirational Polymath Award, being an image scientist, an aviator, an entrepreneur, a creative director, an author, an educationist, among other hats, and that she wears. Dr. Kuljeet is an Asia Book of Records, World Records India, Bharat Book of World Records, and India Book of Records holding for being the first image scientist in the world. She has researched and created innovative concepts like PRIM, DPRIM, Premiere, and PIQ, the world's first ever persona and image quotient, and has been applauded the world over for her work. She's written several research papers, book chapters, and books. She's also an expertise in psychometrics, NLP, color analysis, and creative movement therapy. With over 3 decades of work experience in varied industries, as well as advisor or office bearer of many women organizations around the world, this amazing impact strategist has made India proud in her area, apart from being an inspirational humanitarian who's always been impacting thousands of lives globally in our mission to make a powerful difference to the persona and image of individuals and enhance life skills across the globe. I take immense pleasure to invite Dr. Kuljeet to join us. Welcome, Dr. Kuljeet.
Thank you so much, Rambika, for all those lovely Very, very encouraging words. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be back on a forum that we resonate very closely with. So, thank you. I'm very happy to be here today.
As I just mentioned, this evening is a launch of new series of webinars coming up from Wiki Life Skills National Council. And we're very honored to have you as our first chief guest, as our first woman chief guest coming towards the Women's Day celebration. I take this honor again to welcome you. Together we warmly welcome all the audience. Let's keep this as an
Yes.
engaging evening with questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Shiva. You couldn't have got it any more right than what you just said. And yes, it's a great opening because here we are starting off the Women's Day month, if I may say. It's the Women's Month, if I may say, because I think all through this particular month, in specific or in particular, a lot of women are applauded across. So here we are trying to make our own little nuances happen with collective thought and action. So really happy to be here. And I'm completely with you. Let's just make this an engaging interaction that will take this forward, I guess. Yes, let's do
Yes,
that.
because the audience deserve to know about you, your work, our Wiki National Life Skills Council, and much more that they would want to hear from you. Let me start with the first question.
Okay.
We know our Wiki National Life Skill Council started roughly about 6 months. It's been a journey together and it's been awesome. Can you tell our audience about this wonderful journey till now and how it's been for you as the visionary behind it?
Okay. So, yes, absolutely right. It's been beautiful. Started roughly 6 months, as you said, or roughly around 6 months ago. And it's been stupendous. We've had so much that has happened. And there's this whole women task force for life skills uh, that have come together, as we know. And I think sitting there as a national president here, I know because my journey started about a month or two before the team was brought in. So if I look back to those days of me sitting and having that little vision, the thought, starting literally from ground zero, wondering what is it that can be done in this area and who are the people who can make all that difference. So it's been a long journey in that way, but a beautiful one. And I'm so happy that every single lady on the platform here, I'm not speaking only for the National Council, I'm speaking for the entire set of women, the task force, All India. Each one is a gem who has come in. One, because here are these women who selflessly want to contribute, and you need a heart of gold, to do that, where you want nothing in return, you just want to give. And I'm so happy and so I feel very blessed that the vision that I came up with many, many, many months ago is actually getting into the realization mode. And like you said, if I have to equip the audience with how was this journey all about, well, it started with, like I said, a few months prior to bringing in the team itself, where I started firstly researching as to what should be done. What is this area of life skills that can be, brought out in the right manner? And so I myself first moved into a lot of research and studies, and I came up with that, the whole perspective of a global set of life skills, which have been accepted by known organizations like the WHO, like UNICEF, like UNESCO, and then moving forward and saying that, okay, fine, if this is what they're doing, and then trying to also see what's been done in India, and I realized there's this huge gap. So that was an area that caught my eyes, and I was like, okay, so let's just do this, and let me get a team that kind of is equipped enough to do justice to this entire vision. And that's when the team building started, and started with the National Council, and then every state has been coming in, and today we stand at 12 states. The journey is still on, of course, to get more states and more union territories. So we have 12 states and union territories as of now, like I said, and it's a fabulous team of people who have resonated, fortunately, with the vision, with the mission, the values and the mantra that I set across. And I left it open for them, the National Council, to kind of also look at whether they feel they want to improvise, about the journey. And it's been beautiful. So eventually, the whole thing kind of closed. And on the 15th of August, very momentously, if you remember, we launched the National Council. And from then on, the roadmap kind of came in play. And the roadmap was established till December 2021. So we had a whole vision absolutely clear that this is the path ahead, this is the journey ahead. And after that, we moved into the KEL, which is the knowledge enhancement lectures, because as we know, our team, and not just the National Council, across our state bodies are also mixed with women from various professional backgrounds that complement the entire journey of life skills, because it's not only about experts in life skills, it's also about the learnings you get when you have multidisciplinary kind of shall I say translations of knowledge. So it was very important to have a nice mixed bag representation from all kinds of areas, and we managed that. But it was also important, having said that, that the women who come from backgrounds that don't come from hardcore clinical therapy or from hardcore life skills are also equipped with what exactly are those life skills that have been globally defined by these big bodies. And so that's what we did in knowledge enhancement lectures, and we have finished that entire series. And now, of course, as every state goes by, they're doing the similar kind of structure. And of course, now I think the national body is typically focusing a lot on the R&D, which is our research and development for the area, because the purpose that we're here is to try and see all of those 10 life skills in the Indian context, keeping in mind our values, our attributes, our heritage, and all of that. So it's very important to understand the Indian woman at length, and also in context, like I said, with the 10 life skills. So the R&D is on at this point in time. And just to probably equip the audience, I would say maybe I'll just say a line or two about those 10 life skills that I'm talking of constantly. So let me just go in any random order. Let's talk of, let's say, decision making. So we're talking of the ability to be able to choose a course of action from a number of options, which may result in a specific outcome, or even, let's say, involve a decision to adopt a specific behavior path. So how do you develop that ability to be able to do the right thing, in terms of your course of action? So that's all about decision making. We talk of problem solving, then we're talking about, let's say, a process through which we look at a situation and we look at a solution that can be resolved. You're looking at a solution for a situation or a problem. And there, that process of, the number of steps that we have to go past is the ability to be able to understand how, in a very methodical manner, can you actually do problem solving. Now, I'm saying this all in very layman jargon. There's a lot to that. R&D puts it in a very scientific manner, but I'm trying to make it easy for our audience to understand. Then let's say the next one probably would be, let's say, creative thinking. We're talking of that ability where we don't have to get stuck in traditional mindsets. We don't have to get stuck in a very, very typical kind of a mindset of thinking. We're talking of being a little proactive in our minds, where we can generate our own original ideas through innovation, through a little more creative ways of looking at it. And that then enables us to, respond a little better, to respond a little more adaptively, if I may say, to life situations. And that's very important. Critical thinking, again, is one of the other very important areas, life skills. And that critical thinking, typically, as the word says, we're talking of the ability to be able to analyze, to be able to rationalize critically, wherein you can criticize, or not, sorry, criticize, I stand corrected, where you can critically look at information or maybe experiences that you are going past, or maybe ideas that come your way, or pretty much anything. And you can look at it and rationalize and derive conclusions in terms of how best you can address certain questions or issues to your mind, and present very logically a final solution or a conclusion, or even for that matter, if it's discussion or debate or argument, whatever you may say. So it helps you to coordinate yourself in a certain mindset. It helps you to critically think. Then comes in, let's say, effective communication. Now, when we're talking of communication, obviously we're talking of the ability to express ourselves, whether it's through words or through our body. But we're looking at being able to do that appropriately in various situations where we are able to empathetically reach out, understand, and then communicate, because it's a give and take kind of a process when we're talking of communication. So how do you build that ability to be able to understand not just the words, but also understand the context and the emotion behind what's being shared? So all of that, once you get that, the intent becomes clear and you're able to communicate more effectively. So that's all about that life skill. Then empathy is a very important life skill, where we are talking about an ability where you can imagine, how life is for another person. You're kind of stepping into his shoes, but you're also able to visualize, and it doesn't mean that you have to go past that whole experience yourself, but where you can empathize, where you can feel the situation, even if it's unfamiliar, but you can actually relate to what that person is going through. And that's very important, by the way, this life skill in today's times. Another important life skill is interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills. So the ability to relate to people in a more positive manner. You can create an environment which becomes more congenial, where you can make people feel secure when you're interacting with them. You feel free to interact and express opinions, and it's a give and take, of course. Again, like I said, interpersonal. So those kind of skills, and again, these are very important in today's times. Actually, all of the 10 skills are very important, and that's why we're in this whole thing to make sure that the 10 skills are imparted to the women. A very important and core part of the life skills is your self-awareness, which is about your mental picture about yourself, your sense of identity, and how you can understand your own value system, your own beliefs, your feelings, your behavior patterns, which get triggered, of course, from your own inner thoughts. So all of that, this self-awareness becomes very important because most of us don't even know ourselves well, and I think it's very important. The last two would be coping with emotions and coping with stress. When I'm talking of emotions, obviously there's a range of emotions that we're talking of in ourselves and others also, because it's not only about understanding yourself, it's about understanding people, which is very important when you're talking about coping with emotions. Um, so having that awareness is extremely important because your emotions will influence your behavior, and that's very critical to the way you will move forward. And your coping mechanisms thus get triggered. And there's a whole, of course, process to it, which when we come with our training modules, you'll probably be aligned with what we are doing. And of course, like I said, stress, which is something like, probably most of us today are suffering from. So the ability to be able to firstly recognize that you are under stress and then do something about it. That's very important. Where you understand coping mechanisms. So we're trying to build all of these things through our R&D, and the work is on currently. And somewhere around in the next few months, I think we should be able to come up with some good solutions and structures. And of course, apart from that, I have to say all the other members who are not into hardcore R&D, because our R&D team is all about people who come from the hardcore life skills background, starting from life coaches to behavioral experts, to behavioral scientists, to image scientists, to clinical therapists, to psychologists, to analysts of various kinds who've been studying the mind and all of these very much in depth over the years, and they are professionals at this. So that's the R&D team. But we also have this bandwagon of other gems who are into networking. They're experts at networking. They know it exactly. They know how to connect and reach out to people like you who are in the audience. And then there are people in marketing and PR, which is again a very critical and a very strong support system for us to be able to communicate with all of you and reach every single corporate, every organization, and every single woman who is working in various kinds of sectors in formal or formal. And of course, we are backed by a good legal and a policy team because we are not in it in a casual way. We are doing something in a very, very legit manner. We want to make sure that all the scientific work we are doing takes a good shape and is legitized into a good policy, which we can give to the government of India to be able to explore that option to facilitate it for the women across the country. So that's what the journey has been. I hope I have not taken too much time on this question, but because you asked me a very open-ended question, Shiva, I kind of just took the plunge and I said, okay, let me just share whatever I have for the audience at this point in time.
This was much needed, Kuljeet. That's a thorough knowledge transfer and also a broad roadmap because it's important. The vision, the mission behind it, and these questions are not my thoughts to ponder. It's been a collective thought from the team, from various councils. So it is important, and thank you so much for this elaborate answer.
My pleasure.
Now, my next question to you is, based on your experience so far, what could be your advice to us in the National Council, one, and also to our extended teams there in specific to the state councils, and all this in specific to the vision that needs to be achieved?
Okay. All right. So first thing I think would be more than the advice, I want to firstly give a pat on the back to the National Council and all the state councils. that we have already. Because, like I said, this vision that uh, has been created is not an easy one. We're talking of exploring the reach to lakhs and lakhs of women across our country. So I have to pat the back of every lady who has joined up in this mission, because it takes guts to do that and say, I will do this on my own metal as part of this collaborative team, and make this happen in keeping in mind the larger vision for our country. So that's the first thing I want to say. But that apart, I think it's important to also understand that alignment with the vision and mission at all points of time is very, very important. It's very easy to kind of drift away. So if I had to talk of advice, then I would say, for every member who's with us, every single lady who's helping us in the task force, I think it's extremely important. Keep reading the vision, mission, the values, the mantra that we have and we support consistently, because it's extremely important, like I said, to stay aligned with all of that. And the National Council, like I said, is focusing so much on the R&D, the hardcore, brain of the activity is happening there centrally by this All India team here. But it's extremely important that the state teams definitely keep the skill interventions and the dissemination of knowledge as their, strong point there. And I'm happy because so many of the state teams that we have actually moved forward. We know, for example, Karnataka has already taken a step up and they're already aligning with organizations. There are MOUs that have been signed up. And we know that has also taken a step forward. They're engaging with the local population. And so has Gujarat got its team up. And so on and so forth. Tamil Nadu is getting ready up in the wings right now. Delhi is getting ready. Haryana, everyone. Punjab, we have everywhere, there's energy that's flowing up. And that's beautiful. And for, of course, states that haven't yet seen some kind of activity, I'm hopeful that maybe people in the audience who are watching us and who feel that they are from the life skills segment, they can probably also reach out and align with us if there is a will that they want to kind of, that they also want to kind of explore this option of being contributors to the nation. They can reach out and we'd be happy to, of course, embrace their love and support in this area. So what I'm saying is there is so much activity going on. As far as my advice is concerned, I'm only saying that stay aligned with the vision, with the mission, and please understand that we are in it together. So a spirit of collaboration. Our values talk of all of that, right? We have those 7 values, and it's all of that is there in our statement that has been shared with all the states. So I think keeping in mind the excellence that we want to drive everything we do, the collaborative spirit, the collective thought that we are talking of, as long as we are all together, aligned as a one kind of a team. Like we're talking of oneness here, as the fist making that impact vis-a-vis a hand that lies open. I think we are in it to go. So I only have accolades actually, very less of advice honestly, because I think they're on the right track, and I'm just looking forward to some great energy as we keep it going. So don't let yourself feel that at any point in time that, oh my God knows this is going to happen or not, because I truly know that we are in that entire journey right now, and the way we've come over the last 6 months has been tremendous. And I can see energy only growing from here further and further. So I think alignment and the right spirit is what I would typically request all of them to keep maintaining.
That's taken well. And I'm sure the audience there, all of our members and our other guests who are listening are, yes, getting the answers. And like you said, it's a pat on the back. And we're really proud about our National Council, the contribution, and also the state goes there. Thank you. The next question to you is, you being a global thought leader and a visionary, have already set the vision, the mission, the mantra, the values, and our operations are going on. You're going good at it. Now there is this fresh lead, or the launch, I would say, that we are having today. Is about the new platform, the representational platform, to bring the values of our life skill into life. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the Friends of Hope and Resolve, the new thought, the novel thought. So could you please throw some light on that, and how about the drive and the outreach of Friends of Hope and Resolve?
Right. So, thanks for this question because it's a very meaningful question that relates to today. So, Friends of Hope and Resolve. The acronym becomes FOHA. When I created this phrase with the acronym and I said it aloud to myself, it actually becomes for her, right? So it kind of synced very well in my head. And I was like, okay, we are doing, as a council, All India Council, we are doing everything we can for her. So the for her actually turned out to be Friends of Hope and Resolve. So it kind of worked well together. Everything the council plans to do is for her, for the woman. And when we are talking of for her, currently we are talking of as an Indian body, we're talking of the Indian woman here. So this series that we have started and which starts today, the webinar series, is the For Her webinar series, which typically is looking at a way of engagement with community. That's the whole purpose. And we want to engage basically with the community at various levels. This is one of those ways where we want to stay connected with the lady there across. So we are looking at connecting with you as such in person or digitally. So when we're talking of digitally, it is through the For Her webinar series, which you're part of today. And the basic aim here is that we want to aid a sort of a direct learning and a sort of a facilitation where you don't need to run all over the place searching for what are life skills and how do I do it and so on and so forth. We, as a council that is researching and getting into the depth of the R&D here, are equipped to share things with you. That apart, the webinar series is going to be focusing on getting people in who are experts in the area, men and women, who will also be happily sharing lots of information, which will help you on a daily basis. And you know, your day-to-day kind of issues that you have in terms of life skills, all those kind of issues, you will find that you will have somebody who will listen to your issues and address those in platforms like these. Like the webinar, we will have an open question and answer session, right? As we move along, you will hear some great inputs from people, but you will also get a chance to push out your questions and have the experts deal with those questions and give you some good concrete answers or ways out or solutions. So it's a great way to be able to express that. The whole purpose here was, like I said, we want to be like friends to you. We are friends to you and we want to listen to you. We are a bunch of listeners here. We have information to share, but we're also a bunch of listeners who want to hear you. You know, so many of us women across the country often are not even heard. Some of us are, some are not. And we crave to be heard. We're human beings here, right? We have our own stories. We have our own dreams. We have our own things we are passionate about. We have our own aspirations, but there's no one to hear us. We are here to hear you. We want us to be accepted as friends of you and friends of hope. We don't want you to lose hope ever in life. So we are your friends of hope as well as resolve because we don't want you to give up. And that's how the whole journey of For Her came in my head in terms of friends of hope and resolve because we are in it for you. All of you women who are there watching me right now speak, each one of you, we want to be your friend. So we just want that this engagement happens on in various ways. So the For Her is basically the whole platform that we are developing, and the digital platform for the same is the digital For Her webinar series, like I said. So when we meet in person, we will have a different For Her, profiling there, which we will share when, of course, we meet post-COVID times. So here is the scope for the community, basically, like I said, to be able to engage with us and share their feelings, share their thoughts, share their aspirations. And we want to be able to help you to strengthen yourself. And probably we will also get strengthened. There will be a mutual sharing. And we will also get strengthened through your interactions with us. So the whole purpose, like I said, here is engagement with the community. And we want to address the issues that working women face on a daily basis. And so every month, the plan is that we are going to have this on a monthly series. We will have the team, our Wiki team, come up with moderation, with some expert or a bunch of experts there. They're going to be experts and professionals also from various areas who will come and share their knowledge, their experiences, and you will also come and interact with us on that platform. So that's the whole purpose behind For Her. I really, really want that this series cracks up all kinds of inhibitions and all kinds of thoughts that hold you back. So time has come to kind of break loose and make that breakthrough through the For Her webinar series that Vicky has brought in very lovingly for all of you.
Beautiful, wonderful. Isn't that? You really touched direct to the heart of the women and the kind of platform that we could create through Wiki Life Skills Council. Dr. Kuljeet, Kel, For Her. Through Kel, we understood, like we know, we've practiced many a times all this life skill, maybe in different ways. But at this stretch, in this linear form, what we could understand, what we could give to others, I wish and hope that For Her also reaches its drive and the vision that you've set for it. Let's go to our next question. So in addition to your current responsibilities that right now as the president of National Council Wiki Life Skills, you've already been a celebrated personality. You've been the world's best and the first image scientist, a pilot, an achieved entrepreneur, and many other roles, representing many women organizations. How did you draw this balance and prioritize between the personal, the professional, at the same time that you're able to scale up to such heights? Could you please share your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting question. So I think there are a few things that I would like to probably make a mention of. I think the first underlying thing and the first thing that comes to my mind is gratitude. For me, I think gratitude is something which should be a part of everybody's heart and soul. For me, it is one of the most important things, gratitude to God and everyone, because it's because of everyone that I'm inspired to keep moving on, to keep learning, to keep growing and evolving. So I think for me, gratitude comes in as a very critical part of me. My core foundation also drives me in my life because I know there are a few things which are my core foundation. They are things like excellence, integrity, harmony, commitment, logic, creativity. These are very core to me, and I know that everything I do, these things keep kind of coming in the midst of everything I do. So I'm happy because I drive my passions through these few words that I've just shared. And I strongly also believe in the power of auto-suggestion. I've learned it the hard way in life, I think, somewhere down very early in life. I've learned the skill of being able to operate in a self-ignition mode. I don't need to be motivated by external sources. I'm kind of self-motivated. And in any case, I truly believe that nobody can motivate someone else. You can only inspire someone to be motivated. You can't really motivate someone. So, and I've also believed that for me, for example, in my journey of life, I think I have realized that life is about finding and creating yourself. And so that's what I keep doing. I'm always finding and creating myself over and over again and trying to get myself to be a better version of myself. I've always dared to dream. So I think that's very important because everything you do in the professional or the personal space, as you said, needs you to have that spirit in you to dare to dream and never give up. I've never given up, no matter what. It doesn't matter. For me, adversity is something that I have, dealt with very young in life. And the journey hasn't stopped. So I've made adversity my friend. And challenges, when they come in, I accept them and embrace them as friends. And I just keep my journey going. So today, another thing I realized that probably keeping in mind my professional and personal space, I think I've benchmarked myself as my own benchmark in one way. I'm not in competition with anyone. And my goal is only to beat my last performance. And that's it. It's always, how do I strive to get better and better and better? And it's quite like, the passion of this Olympic high jumper that I had seen on television at some point in time. He was asked this question, how do you manage to jump so high? And he just said, I throw my heart across and my body follows. And I think I pretty much am in tune with the same thing, where I just throw my heart out and I just follow. It's like, I have a vision, I dare to dream, I just put myself out there and I'm trying to do whatever I can. So I'm happy that I do it. And the fact is, I don't take success and failure too seriously. because I truly believe that I never lose. I'm either winning or I'm learning. So it doesn't matter, regardless. So when you don't have the fear of losing or the fear of failure, then there's nothing. I mean, what are the stakes? Nothing, right? You'll only do well. So that's the mindset I function on. And I think that's helped me immensely in my professional space because there's never a fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen if I fail? I never fail. I'll still learn. So it's okay. I'm always energized by these sort of things. And of course, I'm always in the introspection and that kind of a retrospection mode. So that's what helps me to evolve.
Wow. Being grateful, address the adversities, face the fear, and have a vision. Yes. Rightly so. Even the journey of life skills started during the COVID times, correct? There wasn't a
Yes,
thought, there wasn't a shy, there wasn't a sly. I mean, it just started and it just started rolling in beautifully well.
absolutely. Absolutely.
When the whole
You know,
world
you should
was.
never leave life incomplete at any point in time. That's my true belief. If you started something, finish it. Don't leave it halfway.
So there comes the next question, taking just the thread of what you said. Don't
Okay.
leave it. Don't leave it in the halfway. So, from your personal experiences, could you please share a couple of thoughts and insights in context to women empowerment, the values or the traits that we've set as the seven values? I'm sure you've practiced all that, seen all that, benchmarked on it, because you said you are the benchmark for yourself, which is very well said. One cannot compare the progress of another and go ahead. One can only compare with himself or herself. Yeah. So could you please help us understand which of these seven values or traits has helped you the most and why?
Okay, now it's not one, there'll be a few of them. Firstly, the seven values for the sake of the audience, let me just count them out for them. There's integrity, there's passion, there's commitment, respect, collaboration, innovation, and excellence. So these are your seven values for Wiki. Out of them, I would typically, personally speaking, say that integrity, passion, commitment, and excellence seem to be a little higher up vis-a-vis the others in terms of giving you examples for empowerment. Okay, so when I'm talking of empowerment, I can put myself as an example. So let's say everything I do, for me, excellence is all about giving it your 100% in everything you do, whether it's your family, your friends, your studies, your research, your work, your whatever. Being in the moment, giving it your 100%. And I realized that every single thing that I have done, and you had a very lofty introduction, right? I'm a polymath and all of that, whatever you announced, right? So I don't believe that I would have been able to achieve all of that if I didn't have excellence as the strong point there, because every single thing that a person indulges in is pushing that person into the best 100% that the person can deliver. So it's natural that excellence will come as a byproduct, and with that will come in achievements. So that is one thing. And I'm just sharing this because I think a lot of women somewhere probably might resonate with this. So if they have tried two or three things and they have given their heart and soul into it, you are empowering yourself in any way, because now you've made yourself an expert of sorts. And if not an expert, you're at least more comfortable and you're much higher up from where you started, right? So I think that is a very important thing. I think commitment is extremely important. Passion is extremely important, and integrity, of course, like I said. So let me just kind of float by a few examples using these three, and the fourth, of course, being excellence. So I think when you're motivated enough, that's when your commitment becomes very strong. And for motivation, you also need passion. So it's kind of interconnected in one way. Integrity falls as a very critical part there, because there's your honesty, your honor to having given your word to someone. You know, you are being completely fair and honest to your inner soul and your inner being. So if you have resolved that I am going to do this, there is nothing in the world that can stop me from doing that. There's nothing in the world that can actually stop you, right? So how is it possible that you will not finish what you've started? So these things put together, I realized that my journey, personal journey, right from having all of those adverse things that came in my life. Shiva, when I was very young, just a little infant, I was afflicted with polio in my right leg, and I know that as I grew, I was not walking the same way like probably you did or the others did. For me, walking and running was not the same like most people. And the challenge that came in so early in life, realizing that I had this little, shall I say, handicap of sorts to be able to function normally, like my peers or like friends I had at that point in time, came in very early. But the resolve to kind of get out of that came in also very early because the realization came in just from the mindset of autosuggestion that said, there's nothing wrong with me. I can do anything that anyone else is doing. However, having said that to myself, the fact is also that my integrity, to honor the word I gave myself that I am as normal as someone else mentally, took me to actually a physical level where I was working so hard on that right leg that I actually concentrated so much on building it up that I landed up doing much more than ever expected by a person who probably was afflicted with polio. So I landed up being a Bharatanatyam dancer, a Kathak dancer, a national level athlete, a gymnast, a parade commander at the Republic Day camp, a pilot, and all kinds of things which involve my knee, my leg, all of that, right? So I kind of turned out to be a healthy disruptor of sorts. But that's only because I was honoring the promise I made to myself as a person. So I think it's very important to firstly understand that integrity is not always about a commitment you give to someone else. It starts with a commitment you give to yourself. And I think that commitment, which is our third value, stands as a very strong testament to whatever I have done in life. And today, no person can actually even make out that I ever had polio. I mean, it's been such a long journey, but I'm happy that it happened. But that's only come because of a resolve and the integrity and the excellence I put myself into, right? So everything that I think a person does has to float across certain principles and certain values. So when I'm talking of a value, I know I've lived these values. It's not about just talking about it. Be it flying and be it my, engagements of any kind at my professional front, I have always respected these values at the back of my head. And of course, respect, not just for myself, because you have to first love yourself and respect yourself. Only then can you do justice to loving and respecting other people. And I think that's very important in a collaborative environment. So when you do that and you respect where people come from, their thoughts, their ideologies, and you start respecting people as human beings, automatically there is growth for you. Automatically there is evolution for you. These are things which we have to respect in a fraternity like ours, for example, in Wiki. And I think all of these things, and I can quote many more examples. The one that I just quoted was something that kind of floated across those 4, 5 main values. So I use that as an example. But that apart, I think another thing would be probably the commitment to make a difference to the world in my own way. Being an image scientist, knowledge is meant for sharing. So I think, again, the integrity element, I think, was very close to my heart, where I just wanted to have that passion that drove me to doing something for people, especially the youth and women of the world, starting with my own nation. And so I started this whole mission, Prim Worldwide Mission Possible. I've been impacting women, thousands of them. In fact, they're almost a lakh now that I've impacted. And the journey has to continue because I'm on this mission to do this selflessly. I want nothing in return. I'm just trying to do this because I have committed myself to that mission. Today, I'm heading the Wiki Life Skills. So here there's a commitment again, a selfless commitment. So over and above my work and all of that, I do take the time out because there's my commitment to the cause here that I want to make that difference in my own way. So be it whatever I do, I think these values constantly resonate with me. And I want to keep doing that. I have a passion. I want to respect that passion to do whatever I can. You know about every single thing I've been doing, right? But I think if all of us as a team also, not just the Wiki team, but I'm saying all of us as in people beyond Wiki, can look at these 7 values that I've just spoken of a little more intensely, they'll realize that it's an easy way to find a solution for life, these 7 values.
Superb. And I could see from what you shared just now, you've already lived through this life skills. You're just walking the talk, knowingly or unknowingly. That's why it comes as the vision that you set, because let it be facing the adversities, which at a very young age you could do. And also all the examples that you shared now, it just shows that why one or you could have chosen the 10 declared, UNESCO declared life skills to bring into India because you've lived up to it already, probably in different approaches and aspects. Wonderful. Thank you. Next, very interesting question. You spoke about the robust R&D that's going on. What next?
What next? Okay, so indirectly, let me share the roadmap very informally. So the R&D team, like I said, is right now going in depth in terms of the 10 life skills which I shared earlier with the audience. So we are at the nascence. I will say nascence because, research is a very big world, and you can go on and on for years together, but that's not what the modus operandi is. So we're trying to make it as snappy as we can, but yet we don't want to lose the breadth of what we are doing and the depth either. So the R&D team will get itself ready with a certain structure for two things. One is, of course, the policy that we're looking at for the central government to be able to implement it across all states and union territories for the women, working women. The other angle that we're also looking at is creating, through our research, training modules. We also, by the way, have experts on skill interventions who are, again, they've been in that area for over 20 years. And they're experts on training modules. They're experts on, understanding what exactly should be done when we create training structures. So we are planning to create a training structure that can then be utilized by corporates, by organizations, by government organizations, by women groups, by NGOs, and you name it. Basically, we're talking of reaching out to every single place where we have women working there and have this sort of a skill intervention wherein they are learning and imbibing whatever is being taught in that training module. And believe me, we are not going into months of training. We want to make sure that it is something that is functional, because I'm sure corporates are not going to easily allow us to engage for months together. So we're going to make sure something that is extremely intense, powerful, but yet legit in terms of the timeline. So this structure will be utilized then for all the women across the country to be able to capacitate themselves and strengthen themselves towards those 10 life skills that I've just spoken about. So that's the first step after what we're doing right now. And of course, alongside, we're hoping that, of course, we say goodbye to COVID soon in the next few months. Now that we have the vaccine out, and then, of course, we start our in-person engagement. We plan to have some summits, which will be an all-India kind of a summit where we will invite people from across the country to be part of audience as well as people on stage, where we can have a good interactive forum and we can discuss a lot of issues on life skills, where we can hear in verbatim women coming up with the issues they face at work, various kinds of things that they face, whether it is stress or it's emotions, or even just simple things like not being able to say no to a job that's being given when they are already bundled with so much. There are a million things women go past. So I'm not here going to harp on all of that, but we all know that we share a lot of things. So summits that will kind of give a lot of knowledge, and which will also be very interactive to share. So that's another thing. Apart from that, there will be many other things that our mission has laid out that will help for us to kind of keep engaging, not just on domestic front, but also where we can empower this mission by bringing in global expertise in the area, where we can probably even invite people from WHO or from the bigger, fraternity of life skills, and they can engage with us. But I think at this point in time, what we're looking at is, and it's already started, where our state teams, for example, have already started creating an awareness of the concept itself of life skills. Because I think in the name of life skills, there seems to be a bit of a misnomer. People misconstrue that life skills is this and that, but actually, we just want to make sure that there is a little more clarity there in terms of what exactly are the life skills defined by the World Health Organization and UNICEF and UNESCO. So these are big names, and they have done their research and their own study to come up with these as the defined 10 life skills. So the first thing is to kind of just make people unlearn and then relearn as to what exactly are the life skills. We're also, like I said, looking at skill interventions coming in from the state councils. And there will be a lot of implementation that will happen, because even the R&D, for example, is not going to be just a straight training module coming out. That's also going past a pilot. We're going to test it out with a certain study group, north, south, east, west of the country, and understand how it worked, and then probably use iterative models and research methodologies to improvise and improve on what we have, and then finally put it out there for everybody. So that process also is yet to happen, because we are at the first part of the R&D, like I said earlier. So I think somewhere down we would also be looking at probably coming up with some more literature which is easily accessible through research papers, and maybe some kind of comparative analysis of traditional structures vis-a-vis what we are creating as a woman kind of a structure, very, very applicable to women across the country. And we're also going to be looking at being able to capacitate other organizations who want some kind of knowledge sharing to happen. So we can probably help them out, with the life skills, since we would have done the R&D. So we can engage with them for that purpose. We would also look at strengthening our community network through this network. And maybe our network will grow by leaps and bounds with people and experts from various areas and walks of life who will help us to strengthen the learning know-how, and help us to evolve more. So they're going to be practitioners, they're going to be experts, they're going to be professionals in this area who will engage with us on various parameters. And I've already mentioned about the Friends of Hope and Resolve, right? For her, so I'm not going to repeat that. And we're also looking at some kind of exchange programs in the form of webinars, in the form of various platforms where we can have a knowledge base being strengthened, and people from anywhere can engage with us. Maybe we might have some interested parties from across geographical boundaries trying to reach us on the FOHA series. You never know, because we might be giving such meaningful stuff. Not might be, I'm sure we're going to be here. And of course, like I said earlier, the R&D team is splitting its work towards two directions. So we're also looking at the policy creation. So that, of course, will happen probably closing into the third quarter of the year. And engagement with the communities will continue. And we will keep strengthening our, way ahead. And when we're talking of the engagement platforms, we are already on various platforms, from LinkedIn to YouTube to Twitter to Facebook. And so what we need to do is, make you engage with us on various platforms that you use. And you can feel comfortable engaging with us on any one of them. So you're going to see a lot of stuff happening on our channels across. And you need to stay connected with us to be able to understand what we're doing ahead further and further. We'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you. We said it all. That was a very detailed tactical operation, opened up a whole lot of promise, where the community, the women fraternity in all are going to be fully benefited. Thanks again. Next interesting question for you is, being a scientific researcher, being a polymath, being an entrepreneur, a pilot, an academician, an author, and many other hats that you have worn. Maybe I've not just mentioned, because then I need a separate session to say all that you've done so far. Among all this, what entices you the most? Or I would say, and which impacts you the most?
Wow, that's a tough one. Okay, that's really a tough one. I have actually enjoyed every moment of life and learning, because I've learned from each one of these things. And I think that's why it's very tough for me to segregate one versus the other. I revel in the glory of learning. So, to me, and having said that, I'm also very happy with the constant in my life, which is called change. So, all of these things have also, kind of taken care of that second segment that I just spoke of. So, they've helped me grow. Whether if I was looking at, let's say, the scientific part, being a scientist and researcher, they have taught me the whole concept of how vast knowledge and the space of knowledge is, and how minuscule I am. So there's so much to learn. And I think the realization as a scientist and a researcher, about just understanding that how small is your knowledge. And how Albert Einstein said, he talked of ego and knowledge being inversely proportional. And I'm very happy that as a scientist and as a researcher, this kind of just brings that clarity that you actually are humbled by the expanse of knowledge, and you realize you know nothing actually. There's so much more that you need to learn. So that's the learning that you get. And that's why I love being a scientist and I love being a researcher. It constantly keeps me grounded. It's like stay there, don't have to even lift a foot up to suddenly say, oh, I'm ready to fly. So that's one element. As a pilot, on the other hand, where I've been in control of a metal, there, a huge metallic thing out there, which gives you that feeling of empowerment. You're in physical control. You know exactly how to wear yourself. So, and apart from that, it also teaches you the whole skill of being able to maneuver between, being rigid and flexible, wherein from point A to point B when you're flying, you have to be completely rigid in terms of your focus towards your destination. But the flexibility in terms of maneuvering, because there are winds, there are stoppages, there are weather conditions that may take you off the mark sometimes, but you don't lose sight of your destination. So I love that aspect. It teaches me certain skills on that front. If I'm looking at, let's say, a corporate professional, it teaches me interpersonal skills and social conditioning, because I think it's very important to live as a community and to function as a community. So it's extremely important. All the while that I was working as had the tag of an employee, a corporate employee, I remember having reveled in that glory of collective thought. And I'm very happy that I did that. As an academician, I'm constantly growing every night, relentlessly working. I sit, burn midnight oil, and do it with a smile. It just teaches me to keep on growing, quite similar to the scientist and researcher. And what else did you count? Yeah, the author and the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship, I think, teaches you how the world looks like from a different lens altogether, because it teaches you that no matter what, you have to stand by yourself, stand tall. It's like that, the bird that sits on a branch that has faith on its own wings and not on the branch. So that teaches you that. And I think that's a great important skill to learn, that you're not dependent on anyone. You have to, and you will veer your way around in your own way. You'll find solutions on your own. So you become a problem solver of a different level when you're an entrepreneur, and that's great. As an author, well, I wrote my book very recently, um, and I was pushed under certain circumstances to write it in 20 days, which I did, just out of the fact that it was all there, and all I did was type all through, and I got that book out. But as an author, my creative juices were at its best. And I love that, because I know I have that innate sense of logic and creativity. Remember, I mentioned a few things earlier. And so I'm very happy that it helps me to think creatively, to be able to connect on a different platform with the audience, with the world. And also, it's a good way to express yourself. So getting into that space is a very beautiful space sometimes. So I think each and everything has been very beautiful. So it's very difficult for me to, actually count one particular thing, Shiva. Seriously, everything has enticed me, and everything has its own little value in my life.
Wow. I couldn't have expected for any other answers, right? Like you said, the most impacted. And yes, every role is to be enjoyed. Perhaps that's what made you what you are today. Thank you. Maybe this word sounds familiar to you, or just let me know if it's ringing any bell. Prim and powerful.
Yes, it is.
So, this most interesting book, which I'm reading myself. What is in this book for a woman and a working woman? When I say woman, some of us or some of them choose not to work, but we respect all of them, right? Because they choose to be that. It's very difficult to even be a homemaker. We know, we've discussed that a number of times during our counseling meet itself. And as a working woman, we need to be multitasking, doing a number of things. So what is in it for us as a woman, as a working woman?
Okay, so Prim and Powerful. When I wrote this is by the way the same book I was speaking of, 20 Days. That's what I wrote in 20 days. Okay, this whole book, Prim and Powerful. Prim is, by the way, the acronym for persona and image management. And during my research, I created this whole science of persona and image management as I went along, using my research and the years of hard work that I was putting into my studies. So this whole science of Prim uh, came up as a thought that I wanted to share with the world outside. And so this book, Prim and Powerful, is actually the first step to feeling to be a more empowered version of yourself, a more incredible version of yourself. So if you're looking at it from a woman's angle, as you asked me, so I would say it's a book that encapsulates a lot of stuff with regard to your inner being, your inner self. It helps you to introspect through various guided techniques that I have shared and power moves that I've shared. And so you understand yourself a little better. So it's like having a rendezvous with yourself. And after that, you kind of explore the exterior, which is your outer being, which the people around you see, right? So it's a great book. I'm sorry I'm using the word on my own, but I do know, and I can say this for sure, it is a great book for people who have had all sorts of experiences in life that have pulled them backwards, that hold them back, or even for women who are confident and want to move a step up. They want to kind of move to the next level. So, this book helps you to get your skills up on your inner self, on your external self, as well as your social self, because it also teaches you strategic self management. So there are various techniques. And I think this book is going to help every working woman specifically. I know it'll help every woman, every man, every person, the youth, all of that. But since the question that you have directed is working woman, I know it will help every working woman to build herself and move into her version 2.0. She will move into the next level by going past the journey. If she reads it well, goes past those exercises well, and actually builds herself up. So I would actually highly recommend that somebody should try reading that book. I'm happy to know that you're reading the book too, Shiva. Thank you. You must share how you felt also about this book. But more than me talking about my book, that looks a little pompous. But I would just say that this is what it does for any person. The fact that the language used there has been very, very shall I say, spoken. It's like conversational. So it's not about me bringing out all my statistical data and my research methodology and all the jargon that I used in my science. I've tried to make it very simple and extremely, like I said, conversational for everybody. So I'm hoping that this helps every working woman. The book is meant to make you prim and powerful. So I'm hoping that it makes you actually prim and powerful.
Yes, it does. Even the reading experience is so interesting. Like you said, there is no, data or any figurative thing that we need to do. It is as simple as you have started that I'm talking to you from the living room with a cup of coffee. That's how it
That's
goes.
correct.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I join along with you to recommend this book for all women, irrespective of choose to work
Thank
from
you.
home, from outside, or anywhere. Yes, it does matter.
Thank you.
I was just going through our, social handles, and as we were discussing and talking to just to take any live question if we can, perhaps, we can take one question. I know we are close to the time, but then let's take one question from our audience. So the question is, how would for her webinar aid an Indian woman?
Okay, so if you have probably this question may have come from someone who has probably missed the start because I think I mentioned about the For Her webinar series, but it's okay because we know people join in at any point in time. So thank you for your question, firstly. So we're talking of this For Her webinar series, and today is the first one. We're launching the series. Every month, we're going to have this series, and you'll need to stay connected on all our platforms to know the update, of course, on this. This whole purpose of the For Her series, it's, by the way, it's an acronym for Friends of Hope and Resolve. But when we pronounce it, we say For Her, which is for her, as I said earlier. So this is all about community engagement, wherein we want, as the Wiki Council, we want to engage with all of you, reach out to you, and we want to share knowledge with you about life skills, about the various life skills I've spoken of earlier. And we want an interactive platform there where you will reach out with questions that you face at your work front with regard to life skills. I mean, what are the various issues you face? And we will have experts and professionals sitting on this side of the fence who will answer you and who will help you. So we are not only just going to be listeners, we're also going to be givers in terms of knowledge. And that's the whole purpose here. So we want to have a nice heart to heart kind of chat with you through our webinar series. And we hope that when we reach out to you and you have a takeaway, you will share it with probably some more women, because the aim is here to create a multiplier effect of sorts, wherein knowledge is not restricted to only this platform. You can actually go ahead and tell people that, look, I came to know that this particular life skill, this is a solution that we can do. This is the way we can actually resolve issues for ourselves. And if you think it's of value, join the webinar series. But that apart, let me first share that, this is the solution. So indirectly, every person who's in the audience has actually done some kind of a sharing. And so the multiplier effect will help every woman in the community across our country to feel better, to feel a little more capacitated and evolve in various areas on those 10 life skills. So that's the whole purpose of this webinar series. And we believe that every lady, regardless of she being working or not working, can benefit out of those life skills that we will share on this platform.
Thank you so much. That was a kind of strengthening. So there is sharing, there is giving, there is listening, there is problem solving.
Yeah.
It's more beautiful. It's very insightful, very thought provoking, and I'm sure the audience, all our ladies and gentlemen, are enjoying this. I would say the rendezvous moment with you, with them. Uh,
That's sweet.
before
Thank you.
before we end this show, is there any closing thoughts from your end?
Closing thoughts. All right. So I think what I can do is probably just share a thought to all those women. Apart from me requesting everybody to please stay in touch with us, you're of high value to us. We want to be engaged with each one of you. But apart from that, I want to tell you, because a lot of us people, in normal life, procrastinate a lot. We're like, okay, let's see if you want to come and do it. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Remember that just a desire, will change almost nothing. And so it's very important to convert that desire into a decision, because when you make a decision, it will start changing something. And so make a decision that every month you will be part of the series. You will stay connected with us, because we would want that to happen for you, because we care and love you. And once you're in it, take what you can from whatever we have to share with you, and just persevere. Be determined to make that difference to yourself, because we want you to change for the better. We want you to evolve. And remember that when you do that, everything will change for you. Life will be wonderful. And I'm not saying that life is not wonderful now, but it will be even more wonderful for each one of you. And you will suddenly feel that you're in a different space of evolution. That's exactly what we're looking at. So I want to leave you with that thought. Just make it your, shall I say, personal mission statement, that I am going to be part of this Wiki webinar series, and also part of whatever these guys are going to do, and I'm going to grow and evolve with them.
Thank you. So here it goes. I'm going to be a part of this webinar series. And how about you guys there? That was a wonderful time, Dr. Kuljeet. It's always been a pleasure to have traveled this journey with you personally and together as a team. And that we are supported by such empowered women. They're elegant, they're expert, they're venerated, and they're committed, be that our National Council members and our State Council team as our extended team. It's
Absolutely.
such a wonderful platform to stay, to operate, and to contribute selflessly. That being our mantra, the selfless contribution.
Absolutely, Shiva. I couldn't agree more. You brought that up beautifully. I have to applaud. I completely love this entire All India team. Be it the National Council, be it all the states. I think all of them are rock stars in their own way. The women are fantastic. And I am sure we will reach moments when this whole information download and the trickle of information will go around across the country, and every woman is going to feel far more empowered from the little that we are trying to do. And what a moment it's going to be for India. Seriously. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm really waiting for that. So, like Shiva said, cheers to every single woman here, not just in this particular council or in this particular webinar, but cheers to every woman of our country, our nation, be it sisters, mothers, whoever they are. I think all of them are tremendous in what they do. And we want to engage, like I said. So please connect with us and let us also be a part of your journey.
All our social media handles are mentioned there in our frame, as you see. Please connect with us, share your thoughts, and we'll engage this journey together.
Yes, absolutely.
On behalf of Dr. Kuljeet, our National Council team, and also our state councils, I take this moment to thank each and every one of you here as our audience, as our beloved guests. Stay connected with us, stay tuned to us, and there's so much more for us to look forward to. Thank you. Thank you so much.